This is Jared Gaming, and right now I'm gonna rebuild the Los Angeles Rams. So I traded Lance Dunbar, Tavon Austin, and a 4th round pick for Marshall Yonda and Terrell Suggs. So I trade Tyler Higbee and Brandon Allen and one of my 6th round picks for the Jets' 1st round pick. So I trade Andrew Whitworth, Robert Woods, and a 3rd round pick for Jalen Ramsey. So I trade Kayvon Webster and Robert Saffold III for the Colts' 1st round pick. So I trade Ethan Westbrooks, Connor Barron, and a 2nd round pick for Taylor Decker. So I trade John Sullivan, Nickel Roby Coleman, and a 3rd round pick next year for the Niners' 1st round pick. So I trade Tyrone Rocker, Josh Johnson, and a 5th round pick for Michael Crabtree. So here's our team heading to next season. Our O-line is upgraded with Yonda and Decker. Our receiving core is still okay. We have Todd Gurley and Jared Goff. Our linebacker core is better. Our D-line is good, mostly because of Aaron Donald. And our secondary improved with Mark Barron as strong safety and Jalen Ramsey. At the midseason mark, we are 6-1. And Sammy Watkins needs a new contract. And he'll get a new one. Jermaine Johnson. And he will re-sign. I'm gonna let Dominique Easley go. Or if he accepts this, I'll keep him. And he accepts. LaMarcus Joyner. He'll be coming back. And everyone else could go. So we don't make the playoffs. And our record was 9-7. And somehow the Cardinals went 12-4. Jared Goff threw for 3,800 yards, 29 TDs, 15 INTs. Gurley rushed for 1,500 yards and 7 TDs. And no one had 1,000 yards. And we let up only 15 sacks. Alec Ogletree with 136 tackles. Aaron Donald with 12 tackles for loss and 12 sacks. Jermaine Johnson and Mark Barron with 4 interceptions, as well as Jalen Ramsey. Jermaine Johnson and Jalen Ramsey both had defensive touchdowns. As for awards, Aaron Rodgers wins MVP, and Bruce Arians wins Coach of the Year. Carlos Dansby wins Defensive Player of the Year. Cookin Davis wins Rookie of the Year. Yonda wins Best Offensive Lineman. And we don't win any other awards. So I trade my 1st round pick, Blake Countess, and a 5th round pick next year for the Dolphins' #1 overall pick. And with that pick, I'm gonna replace Jared Goff, and I'm gonna choose Gilbert Burgess, and he's a superstar, and he's an 85 overall. Sorry, Goff. And now with this pick, I'm gonna choose this wide receiver, or maybe this one. I'm gonna choose this guy, and he's also a superstar. And now with this pick, there's no one that good around here, so I'm just gonna trade down. And I'll trade down with the Bengals. And with this pick, I'm gonna choose Trey Cook, middle linebacker, and he's also a superstar and a 78 overall. And with my second round pick, I'll choose the best player on the board. I'll just choose his tight end, and he's a 76 as well. And now I'm just gonna sim the rest of the draft. So I trade Jared Goff, Gerald Everett, and a second round pick for Von Miller, one of the best pass rushers in the league. So I traded a backup right outside linebacker for Shaq Mason. So I traded Michael Brockers and a 4th round pick for the Bills' 1st round pick. So here's the team heading to next season with their superstar rookie quarterback, Todd Gurley, a decent receiving core, and an improved O-line. On defense, our linebacker core is just super good with Von Miller, and our D-line's good with this rookie I picked up in free agency and Aaron Donald. And our cornerbacks are pretty good with Jalen Ramsey and Tremaine Johnson, and our safeties could improve. So at the midseason mark, we are 3-4, and we have some pretty big contracts to negotiate. So Aaron Donald, it's gonna be a pretty expensive deal, but he's one of the best players in the league. Todd Gurley, pretty good running back, he's coming back. Shaq Mason, and he is returning as well, and everyone else could go. So at the end of the season, we finish at 8-8. Our rookie quarterback threw for 3,800 yards, 24 TDs, 14 INTs. Gurley ran for 1,400 yards and 13 TDs. Carr had 700 yards, 6 TDs. Watkins had 1,000 yards and 8 TDs. As for blocking, we only let up 18 sacks. Robert Quinn with 137 tackles, Trey Cook with 117. Donald with 14 tackles for loss, Bradley with 13. Donald with 16 QB sacks, Easley with 13.5. Barron with 4 interceptions, Cook with 3, Ramsey with 3. No defensive touchdowns, no safeties, and a block kick by Bradley. As for awards, Rodgers wins MVP again. Dan Quinn, Coach of the Year. And our quarterback doesn't win Rookie of the Year, which sucks because he's going to miss out on XP. And Cook doesn't win Defensive Rookie of the Year. That's kind of surprising. So none of our guys seem to have won any awards. And yeah. So in the resigning period, I'm just going to get this dude. And he resigns. So in free agency, we get Jadeveon Clowney, who's like a 93 overall. So I trade Michael Crabtree back to the Niners and my 23 overall pick for the Niners' first overall pick. So with my first overall pick, I'm just going to trade down a couple of times. After trading down a bunch of times, I'm going to use this pick to select this wide receiver. And he's really good. 79 with superstar development. And with my next pick, I will get this cornerback. And he's a quick development. As for my next pick, I'm going to see if I could get a safety. And there's no one that good, so I'm just going to trade down. With my second round pick, I'm going to choose this right end. And he's a 72 overall. With this third round pick, I'm gonna choose this left guard. Even though he's a 7th round projected guy, he has superstar development. With my 4th round pick, I'm gonna choose this left tackle, and he's a 77 with quick development. So I trade Cooper Kupp, a 2nd and 3rd round pick, for a strong safety from the Browns with superstar development. So I trade Mark Barron and a 2nd and 3rd for Haha Clinton Dix. So I trade Dominic Easley and LaMarcus Joyner for the Patriots' 1st round pick this year and next year. And here's the team heading into this season. Our quarterback's now an 89. Gurley's still a beast. Our receivers are okay. Our O-line isn't the best, but there's a lot of potential. Our front 7 is still beastly with Clowney in the mix. And our secondary is much improved with 2 better safeties and a really good cornerback core. At the midseason mark, we are 5-3, and Jalen Ramsey needs a new contract, and he'll get one. Taylor Decker will be re-signed, and I'm not gonna bring back Robert Quinn, and Ogletree will be coming back. And if Quinn accepts this offer, then I'll get him back. And he accepts the offer, so we have Robert Quinn back. So we make it to the playoffs at 10-6. As for our stats, our quarterback threw for 3,800 yards, 26 TDs, 16 interceptions. Gurley ran for 15,000 yards and 10 TDs. Watkins had 1,200 yards, 6 TDs, as well as Barr with 6 TDs. And for blocking, we only let up 17 sacks, so not that much. Quinn with 124 tackles, Ogletree with 116. Donald with 10 tackles for loss. And Jadeveon Clowney with 19 QB sacks, Donald with 17.5. Ramsey with 4 interceptions, Perry with 2. A safety by Bradley, and a defensive touchdown by Clowney. Le'Veon Bell wins MVP, Dan Quinn wins Coach of the Year, Rodgers wins Player of the Year, one of our rookies wins an award, and Clowney wins Best D Lineman with Aaron Donald being the runner-up. Robert Quinn is number 3 for Best Linebacker. And that's all we win. So after upgrading, our team is much better. And here's the team upgraded. So now we're going to face the Packers. And with Aaron Rodgers, anything's possible. And we beat them. So now we're going to face the Falcons, and hopefully the Falcons could blow another lead. And they do. So now we're facing the Seahawks, and they won our division. So now we need to beat them to show them who's boss. And they beat us, so guess they showed us who's boss. So I traded 3rd overall pick, a 2nd and 6th round pick for Tyler Eifert. So I traded 1st round pick for Brandon Linder. And I traded 1st round pick for Joe Dunny. So now with the 2nd overall pick, there's no one to draft I really want, so I'm just going to trade down with the Niners. So now with the 8th overall pick, I'm going to trade down again with the Redskins. So now with the 17th overall pick, I will choose a center, and I'm gonna choose this guy, and he's alright. And now with my second round pick, I'll choose a fullback, and he's pretty good at a 79 overall. And now I'm just gonna sim the rest of the draft. So here's the team heading into this season, the last and final season. Our quarterback's a 90, Gurley's still good. Our receiving core is pretty good. And our O-line is much better with Joe Dunny and Brandon Linder. Our front seven is really good with 299 overall players. And our secondary is really good with Jalen Ramsey and Clinton Dix. So let's see if we could win the Super Bowl this year. Okay, so we don't make the playoffs somehow. Yeah. And we went 10-6. So for re-signings, we can't get Johnny Hecker back because we have no cap space left. So, sorry Johnny Hecker, but you're off the team. So I'm gonna trade a second round pick for our. So I'm gonna trade a second and a fourth round pick for Johnny Hecker. So I trade 2 first round picks for Fletcher Cox. So I trade a backup left guard, a first round and third round pick for this wide receiver from the Redskins. So in our fifth season, we went 11-1. As for the stats, QB under 4,000 yards. Kind of has like Flacco's numbers, or Flacco only threw for 4,000 yards once in his career, so I guess our quarterback is like Joe Flacco. Gurley though, 1,800 yards. Watkins, 1,200 yards. And we only let up just 16 sacks. Morgan Bradley with 14 tackles for loss. Donald with 12. Donald with 19 sacks. And Ramsey with 3 interceptions. And no defensive touchdowns. As for awards, Fournette wins MVP. Gurley wins Offensive Player of the Year. And he wins Best Running Back. And that's all we win. So we get a first round bye. And next week we'll play the Eagles. And they beat us. So yep. Somehow this team with 90 pluses almost in every position lost. Well, that's Madden Sim for you.